All right, we are live. Live as the boys are chatting. We got Malcolm again running away out of America, hiding, right? You know, now all we're going to have, he's going to put on a blonde wig and a dress, and we're never going to know it's him. I got Lev, not too far down the road from me, as I'm visiting my family and my parents in Florida, and me right here, the three of us together on Unleashed. Lev, how we holding up? Malcolm, you're once again back where? In Canada?
On the way. Canada, just a few miles from the Canadian border. So I haul up here, commit sedition, and then shoot across the border. The Canadian guards are happy to see
tell them you're a friend of mine. They'll definitely not let you in. So, Carol, I'm not too far from you. I'm over here in Boca. So, look, there's so much that's going. I actually look, like I've told everybody. You know, my dad just celebrated his 90th birthday, so I felt it was important to come down and right. And I'm so thankful to have him and my mom. You know, and I decided to come on down for a couple of days, hoping. Now, I didn't expect it, but I was hoping things were going to calm down just a bisala, as my grandma used to say, just a bisala, a little bit, right? Simply for what? So that I could enjoy time, take a nice little walk with the folks, go grab a nice little hot lunch. I was supposed to see Lev today for a little lunch. Nope. What do we got? We got RFK on the stand, making a complete fool of himself. We have victims of the Epstein, these survivors out there sitting there and spilling their guts. If you read my Substack of this morning, if that didn't curl your stomach, I don't know what would. We have them there in front, and while they're sitting there pouring out their souls, we have the president meeting with the president of Poland doing a fucking flyover. I got to start with that. Malcolm.
Yeah.
Directed to you. Since when do we do military flyovers for dignitaries that come to meet the president?
Yeah, I have a lot of questions about this because I went back and forth with this with my followers the other day. At the exact moment that the start of the press conference happened, there was a flyover of U.S. Air Force aircraft over the Capitol and the mall. That is highly unusual, very rare. Does any military aircraft, other than like the Thunderbirds, which I think it was, or the Blue Angels, comes, and it's rare. However, there might be an excuse for this, which worked to Trump's advantage. The Prime Minister of Poland was meeting in the White House at that point, and just a week ago, I think it was 10 days ago, the Polish Air Force lost an F-16 pilot who was doing an aerobatic maneuver and flew into the ground. And that this was supposedly a honor flight that was going on. Now, I'm sure that that's true. However, this press conference was known for weeks that they were coming on the 3rd, that it would be 10:30 at the Capitol. And, the flyby could have been done over at the Pentagon. It could have been done, It didn't have to go from west to east. It could have just stayed out over Arlington.
As they would say on the football field, timeout.
Timeout.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Timeout.
Throw the flag.
Why am I calling a timeout here?
Throwing.
Actually, one of our Unleashed followers, our family here, our Substack family, actually said exactly what I was thinking.
What's that?
So you have a flyover. What's the cost on that flyover? I thought the whole goal of this administration was to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse.
Oh, God. They hemorrhage money. They burn money.
For the regular people. For them, it's spent. I mean, the more
burn money.
burn.
They
I mean,
back up
200,
dump trucks of money.
dude, new, what's it called? In the Oval Office, you got new ballrooms coming in. They're getting ready for the UFC fights next year. Like, you've got to
Did
do.
you did you see they just let out a contract for, I shit you not, $160 million? I believe it's $160 million
For what?
for fucking electric carts for all of Trump's golf courses for the Secret Service and the president.
Just think about how
Not
much money.
joking.
Just think about
Golf carts.
how much money we're spending on the National Guard. How much money we're spending on all of this
So,
shit that he's doing.
so it's funny you bring up the National Guard. Imagine,
Yeah.
I've never been part of the National Guard. I know Lev has never been. Malcolm is about as close to, that
I was
world
with him.
that out of the three of us. Imagine that you are that you're part of the National Guard and you are summoned by the president within which to patrol the street of DC because you are now crime fighters as opposed to military. You're crime fighters relegated to garbage duty. I got to
Yeah.
be honest with you. There's only a certain amount of horseshit that I'm willing to put up with. I certainly did not become a member of the military to put on yellow flap jackets and start picking garbage up on the side of the street. I'm sorry. I tell you what, Mr. President, you go pick that shit up. And while you're at it, why don't you have Pete Hegseth, who doesn't do shit, anyway? Why don't you have him start picking some shit up with RFK that's fucking up the whole country anyway?
Oh,
So get him out of the CDC and HHS and tell him to go pick up some garbage on the side of the road. I know, Lisa, they are pissed. They're truly unhappy. They feel that they are being marginalized and minimalized. And you know what? You do not treat members of the military. You do not treat them this way. It is such a lack of respect for who they are and what they stand for. They certainly, when they put on the uniform, they put their hand onto the Bible and they swore allegiance to our Constitution and our country. I don't think they were talking about picking up garbage.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got to tell you something. The reason they're doing it is because Doge fired the 200 interior U.S. Department of Parks cleaning crews and maintenance crews. They reduced them from 200 to 20. 20 for the entire National Capital District. That's the mall and any place else that's federal. So, of course, you just use the soldiers because this is how Trump does it. He fucks over his contractors, and he's not going to pay them either. They're going to go 29-day orders and get none of the benefits of being on a 30-day deployment.
I mean, it's sickening, but I want to take us back for a second, back to the Epstein survivors and victims yesterday, because there's a lot of things that happened to unpack there simultaneously, like while they were pouring their hearts out. And one of the things that really got to me was while they were pouring their hearts out, so talking about what actually happened to them, and telling their story in front of the whole world on Capitol Hill simultaneously, literally. It's like if you were watching a movie, it was scripted. You had reporters asking Trump in the Oval Office, asking him, right now you have the victims and the survivors standing there on Capitol Hill, saying this, and he turned around and he doubled, tripled, quadrupled down and said, "This is all a Democratic hoax, folks."
And then he also said, by the way, it was immaterial.
And it was immaterial, because what we should be worrying over right now, he said, is how great I'm doing, how great we're doing, how great my administration. Don't worry about that. And that was some sick, evil folks. And then even at that moment, you had it was like, I'm telling you, it was like watching a movie going back and forth, because while we were streaming it live.
Who I wish, I'm so sorry to cut you off. Harry Dunn just, came into the community.
Hey, Harry.
Harry, I've been trying to reach you for God knows how long. Son of a gun, right? Pick up your fucking phone when you see Michael Cohen calls. But if this Substack would allow 4 people, right?
Yeah.
I would bring Harry up because I would like to ask Harry, all right, who was there on Capitol Hill. Hey, Harry, if they went ahead and told you to put on one of these yellow, you know, reflecting, school guard crossing vests, gave you a little clipper and told you to start walking, on the road over there picking up garbage. I'm very curious as to what your response would be. And I suspect, knowing Harry as well as I do, right, something I do on Political Beatdown, they get the two finger salute.
God almighty.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, love. You were saying.
Nah. Listen, I also wish Substack we should go talk to them and figure out technology wise. We should be able to get more people on here somehow because that would be great. Right now, that's the great part of Substack is having people join and coming up. Without even joining the community. Because listen, we're all part of. What's the purpose of us here? What's the purpose of us being here? Harry being here? It's not some reality show, folks. We try to make it as amusing as possible because it's as serious the stuff that we're talking about, we would go into a depression. But this is all about fighting Donald Trump, saving our democracy, building a community, building a movement. And that's why let's take this moment for a second while Harry's here, while we're all here, all of you, for all the people out there, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to go pass the word out to Malcolm, to Michael, to Harry, to Midas Touch, to Aaron, to myself, to all the independent journalists and fighters.
Nah, to hell with Lev's son. Make sure you do Lev, make sure you do Malcolm, and make sure you subscribe to mine too. You got that, Chiron? Fuck Aaron. Fuck him, the young punk. He's a punk.
Him and his millions of followers.
He is
Aaron is good people.
Yeah,
They're
Michael
good
loves
people.
him. Michael
Right?
loves him. Now, so
I do.
anyway, yeah, guys, right now it's all of us together. We gotta join. We gotta combine because let me tell you, if we don't together unify and go out there and spread the message and build our movement because the truth is a lot harder to spread than lies, and that's what they do. And they have a machine out there. They have the
Yeah.
Elon Musk, Peter Thiel's corporate spawn. They got so much money flowing in, they don't know what to do. I mean, Donald Trump is literally raising money on going to heaven. Think about that. He said, you know what, I want to go to heaven, and all of a sudden he raised a couple of $100 million on that. So this is how crazy their machine is, and that's why we need all the support we can. So for all of you out there that go the extra mile and become paid subscribers, God bless you guys, because you allow us to be able, each and every one of us, to do what we do. So I want to thank you, and then let's go on about yesterday. So while this
Look at all the people. Look at all the people mad at me because I was joking with Aaron. Aaron is the best. Listen, let me be very
I was
clear.
gonna say
It's a joke.
Everybody likes Aaron. All right.
no.
He's truly a special kid. You're blessed, Lev. I tell you that all the time. I tell it to Aaron all the time too. He's very
I
blessed.
am. I tell you.
He's very good at what he does. And you know what? We're all very thankful that he's part of the community, that he's involved, as I am, with Midas Touch Network, where I was the very first personality that they had on their platform. It's true. He's a great kid. He's a great son. He's a great partner in Midas Touch Network, and he's great for continuing to spread information that is true and accurate. And that's all that we want to do. You know why? Because truth and accuracy lends to our benefit. It benefits us all. I want to parrot something Lev just said about how lies spread so quickly. If you think about it, a lie spreads faster, literally by word of mouth, than the internet. It's truly incredible. I have never seen people, whether it's here in Florida, in New York, when I was in Rhode Island, when I was in Connecticut, when I was in, you name it, all over. And they turn around, they tell me, oh, by the way, did you know that so-and-so? And I'm like, oh, really? You mind if I ask you, other than listening to that on Fox News with somebody like Jesse Waters, or at the time, Janine Pirro, can you please tell me where you see this? Can you Google it right now? Now, if I Google it, it's going to be fake information. Oh, okay. So the information you got from Fox News, that's the real info, but the information from Reuters, the AP, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, how about Al Jazeera, which has no skin in the game at all. Everything turns around and says that what you're saying is completely inaccurate, and all you're doing is regurgitating a lie. So that's not true. But what you saw, that's right. What I saw on Fox is true and accurate, and I know it to be that way. I said, the problem with stupid people is you can't argue. You can't argue with dumb.
No, you definitely can. And let me tell you, by the way, just quickly, I know some of you mentioned October 18th. Aaron actually did have a live yesterday with the leaders of No Kings. And October 18th, just a quick shout out to, was going to be 2.0, folks. So mark the date. We'll be talking about it closer to the date, but October 18th is going to be a No Kings 2.0, and we'll bring you more details about it as we get closer. But
I'm glad.
Yeah, no,
I'm glad, because they were starting to look like they were slacking there.
Well, let's just continue on the level of stupidity that seems to be emanating out of D.C. We started off talking about how they're using our military to pick up garbage, a true waste of time. By the way, if you calculate how much these service members are getting paid per day, and then you turn around and instead of protecting America, doing what it is that they're supposed to be doing, if you calculate it for pickup, it's like 10 times the cost of overpaying the mob who used to run all of waste disposal, right? It's 10 times more expensive. So let's just tack that on to fraud, waste, and abuse. We talked about.
Go ahead.
So I said, then we talked about, of course, the women the survivors, the victims who are pleading with our president. Imagine that survivors once again are getting beaten down by the system when they are begging for our president to release the files so that they can have some closure, so that there could be accountability for what was done to them. And what do they get? Again, the two-finger salute and a flyover. Oh, at a cost of how much? How much to fuel up those planes, to close down the airspace, and then to turn around for what? So that the president of Poland can sit there with a goofy-ass smile, stroking Trump's ego? Great. Then at the simultaneous, while you have the president of Poland in there engaging in conversation with Trump that makes absolutely no sense, you have Trump talking about, and Malcolm, I want you to answer on this one first, and then turning it over to Lev. 7 wars have been stopped by our president over the course of. Lev, stop laughing, or we're gonna drop you out and bring up Aaron, because 7 wars have been stopped.
Okay, I got to tell you something. He went down 3 a week ago before he made his disappearing act when he was having, I don't know, open heart surgery or whatever. He was saying
stop. He wasn't having open heart. If anything, I'll tell you what it probably was, to be honest. It was probably he had
bed
COVID.
rest.
He probably had COVID.
Oh, wow.
Please go ahead. I'm sorry, Malcolm.
Yeah, well, anyways.
Maybe he was going through a full-blown rectal examination or something like that. Who knows?
All I got to do is look at him. So in the past, it was 10 wars. Remember, it went from 6 to like 7. Then it jumped to 10, and now it's back to 7. And now everyone, first off, it's a fantasy in his head. He actually thinks he stopped the Rwandan Tutsi Hutu genocide there, and he has it in his head. He said that he stopped the war that killed 9 million people. And everybody's looking around the room like, what? What fucking war is that? Right? Now, Rwanda was 1 million, right? But that was, almost 2 decades ago. And he's talking about the number of people who have died in Democratic Republic of Congo in all of their wars since independence. No one can figure out what the F he's talking about. He's a pathological liar.
So
Every
Malcolm,
time the numbers will come up.
Malcolm, if that's the case, we're so fortunate to have you because not only are you like a historian, but
Oh,
this is what Malcolm Nance is all about. He's really. How come not one single journalist standing there in the Oval Office as he's
yes.
making those comments, not one has the balls to say, "Okay, Mr. President, you make an allegation that you stopped 7 wars,
because it's North
that you've
Korea.
had
We
the
don't
most
have
successful 6 months of any president in U.S. history. One of those 7 is Rwanda. If I can just
Yeah.
give you some facts, tell me how you stopped what war."
Listen, we don't have a press corps, guys. What are you guys talking about?
No.
It's like North Korea. I mean, the press corps. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend there. You got three Fox News guys. You got some social media, Benny Johnson or whoever they got
You know,
there. They got. I mean, there's nobody asking questions, and if you get one question thrown in, he'll get pissed off and say, "Stop, stop."
you, you know, way back when there's a movie called Fatal Attraction. It was a comedy about a guy who was, Armando Monday. He was a cop by day and a lawyer by night. And they do a press conference in this comedy movie where a murderer gets let free from jail. And he goes, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rip the head off that lawyer and use his eyeballs and mouth as sockets for a bowling ball. And there's a pause. And then the journalists go, are you a good bowler? Have you ever bowled a 300? What about strikes? How many strikes do you get? Right? It said he's going to commit murder. That's what the press corps is now.
Yeah.
That's what the press corps is now. They will ignore the news to come up with something ridiculous, in a name. And these people are in fear.
Well, just think
Real
about
questions.
just think about you're talking about this. Just think about something sick like this. Yesterday, while he's calling this a Democratic hoax, while he's saying it, how does not one press ask him a follow up and say, "Mr. President, why don't you invite them over here to the Oval and hear them, listen to them speak?" Marjorie Taylor Greene, that the sick part. This is the sick part, folks. I can't
Right.
believe
Yeah.
I can't even believe I'm saying this shit. But the sick part is you have Marjorie Taylor Greene yesterday saying that I called him and I told him that he needs to get them in there, and he doubled down. He declined. He didn't even just think about it.
When Marjorie Taylor Greene is
I
the
know.
logical person in the room, that
You know,
things are
shit's
things are cracking in
And-
my world.
And let me tell you, yesterday I want to take something back, because yesterday when we were talking, I was still very skeptical of Marjorie Taylor Greene, thinking she could be the Trojan horse. I didn't want to go into but I really, I was saying to myself, I want to see her do something before. But yesterday, speaking to a few of my sources, let me put it to you this way: there's some shit brewing right now between. It was already brewing. But now, yesterday went to another level between Marjorie Taylor Greene, Laura Loomer, and Donald Trump.
Yep.
Oh,
I was going to tell you these. That's actually
the three of
the
them.
next. That was the
Okay,
next thing
spill
on my
that
list I
tea.
wanted to bring up, because my source told me the exact same thing, that there was a internal explosion yesterday.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. And
Explosion between the three. Laura
what?
Loomer is right now on fire.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Literally
What?
on fire. The war that she is bringing to the doorstep of Marjorie Taylor Greene, with, by the way, Laura Loomer has the ear of
Oh,
President
shit.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right. This
Right.
is getting insanely ugly. And
Bringing
you know
that
what?
popcorn out.
Here's the crazy thing. Marge, she's not backing down. This
No,
this
because
this woman, she is not backing down, not on this issue whatsoever. In fact, Her statement yesterday on the steps of Capitol Hill was probably one of the most cogent explanations of the failures of DC and our Department of Justice in terms of protecting not just women, but children from this sex trafficking, from this prostitution, this rape. And she is all in on it. And you know what?
Wow.
She's not the only one, brother. She's not the only one. There are a slew of these magnets. So here's the question I want to bring up. Lev, answer this one. We all saw, and we all now know, the position of people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and other MAGA supporters. Can somebody tell me why we're having a hard time finding 2 additional Republicans to sign on a bipartisan? The raping of a child should not be bipartisan. Let me be very clear about that one. All right. I don't care where you stand on the spectrum of politics, Republican, Democrat, Independent, it doesn't matter. The raping and the sex trafficking of a child should never be bipartisan. It should not be bipartisan. It should not be a partisan issue. Every single person should be on the same page. Why can't we get 2 more?
100%. And the only good news I'm going to tell you is from what I'm hearing from my sources in Congress, that we're going to get the 2. That we're not going to have a problem. There's the reason why it's not being talked about, and is because every time they mention certain names, the Trump campaign and the White House goes after those people. So what the plan right now is that the people that are that supposedly, okay, this is what I'm hearing now. Again, that they have the votes. They're going to get the votes, but they're not going to mention names, talk about, mention it, keep it. Basically, it's like witness protection, folks. Just think about what we're talking about right now. We're literally hiding names of congressmen or congresswomen that might vote from our mafia boss, the leader of the White House, Donald Trump, because what did they do yesterday? When Massey and Rokana put out the 10 names of people that were supporting, we're going to support the vote. The first thing the White House did is come out and basically threaten them and say, this is a hostile act. Think about it. The words that the White House used here. This is it's a hostile act to ask for the release of the pedophiles. This is not Trump's thing. Nobody's asking about Trump. We're asking about a person that supposedly has nothing to do with Donald Trump. Just think about the absurdity that we're talking about. The White House is coming in and saying to you, this is a hostile act you're taking against us if you want us to release the Epstein files. So what I'm hearing, Michael, again, from yesterday, this is in the past 24 hours. This is moving, flowing. That doesn't mean we don't stop what we're doing. That doesn't mean we don't stop making our phone calls. We don't put our petition together. We don't do everything that we spoke about.
And with that, Lev, please talk to our community because, okay, while we have like 1,500 people and it's a very, according to Substack, they'll tell you it's a very good number to have on any specific live. Maybe it's me, maybe it's Malcolm, maybe it's Lev, maybe it's the 3 of us unleashed. I'm not impressed with it at all. And I'm not happy with it. Why? Because this conversation needs to go to not 1,500, not 15,000, not even to 150,000. It needs to go to 1 million plus people. We need to ensure that our voice is heard because we are like 13 months away from the most consequential election in our entire lives. If in fact that we are not successful in terms of taking the House or the Senate or both, there is no longer checks and balances. This is not about Donald Trump. This is about the Constitution, our founding fathers, and how they set up America, 3 separate and co-equal branches, executive, judicial, and legislative. We do not have that anymore. And if we are to get back our tripartite system of government, it is necessary that we win. And we are seeing now, as a direct result of their fear gerrymandering going on. Started in Texas. You got now California. You now have Ohio that's going to do. You got Missouri that's going to be doing. I mean, there's a whole slew of states that are now working through AI to figure out how to gerrymander this. All right. And this is a real problem. It is a real problem. So please smash the heart. Share this with family and friends. I'm not happy with 1,400 people. I'm not 1,500 people. I'm not. We need to grow this community. There's only so much that I can do, so much that Malcolm can do. And let me see what the hell happened to Lev here. All right. There's only so much that the three of us can do. We need to build the community. We need your help. And with your help, welcome back, Lev. With your help, we will grow this community so big. So, in fact, many of you may have heard that Jerry Nadler is now no longer running for another term in Congress. In fact, he's been on the government tit for 50 fucking years. All right? Imagine that 50 years between state assembly and Congress. 50 fucking years. He's made a career out of this. Let me be very clear. That's my district. And you've all heard me try and say, you know what, if I can get my wife on board, well, I'm my wife, my children, and I, when I return back to New York in a day or so, we're sitting down, we're having the conversation on whether or not I'm going to enter into that congressional race. And I'm not joking. Why? Because there's only so much. As much as we try to do here on Unleashed, as much as we try to do independently on our various Substack platforms, there's only so much that can be done from the outside. I truly want to jump in on the inside and shake the shit up out of this Democratic Party because they are feckless. They are spineless. I don't care if you are in the minority. Fuck that. Do something. Show some balls. Do something. Fight. That's what everybody wants. That's why Trump keeps winning, because he fights. Even when he loses, he's still fighting. Lev?
Yeah, no, listen, I'm I'm all for it, Michael. I just believe that the Democratic Party, unfortunately, from what I know and from what I've seen here in Florida, from even the conversations about uh, it's not they don't like people like you and me. They don't want us to run for Congress, so that they don't want anybody to shake it up. That's the unfortunate part. The Democratic Party is and I'm going to say it the way it is. It's fucked up. I mean, that's why we are where we are. The reason why we are in the position we are is because and it's not you just saying and me say, yeah, we need some fresh faces there. We need people to go in there and shake it up. We need people to go in there and stop, trying to play by some kind of guidelines, but actually do what your constituents need you to do. So I'm all for it, bro. If you could get it done, we'll be there to support you 100%. But I just actually the reason why I got off is I don't know if you heard, but Thomas Massey is starting to release some information, and he's released a name, folks. Did you hear the first name?
No.
John Paulson, a major Republican donor and a major Trump donor, is on one of the people on the Epstein list. So how about that one? Okay, so
wow. I happen to know John Paulson, and I can tell you, yeah, he is a major fucking donor. All right, to the party. He's a major donor to Trump. I'm so glad you brought that up, Lev, because I want to bring up something that I have been saying all along, and I have been kicked in the head, kicked in the teeth, kicked in the groin over making these statements. When I had said, no, serious, over the course of, I don't know, the last 2 months since this Epstein situation exploded, that I just don't believe that Trump is in the file to the extent that people are saying or thinking that
you're gonna get yourself in trouble again.
Hold on, let me just say this. Let me say this. Yesterday at the press conference, Lisa Jones, one of the survivors, who sat down at the table with a bunch of the other women, the other survivors, turned around and she wants the names released. And she turned around and she said that Trump was not on that list. Now, I thought that was very interesting. All right. Now, I don't know if he is, and I'll say it again 1,000 times. I don't know if he is or he isn't. All I know is the answer is in that file, which I am calling for, as you are, or our disappeared Malcolm is calling for, the unredacted release of the full file so that I can read the list, so I can make a determination from those documents whether or not he was or he was not a participant.
But,
I don't know. I
but
don't have the crystal ball, but I found it interesting that she made that statement.
But Michael, and this is what I want to make clear also, because this is why I think the misconception of Trump. This is not a case about Donald Trump.
No,
This
it's
is
not.
Donald Trump did not abuse 1,000 victims. Donald Trump is just a minor part of the Epstein. Epstein's the one that abused thousands of victims. Epstein's the one that got involved. Donald Trump is just part of him. So I don't think it's a big deal that 10 survivors did not see Donald Trump out of 1,000. And
By the way,
remember,
I'm with you.
you know what I'm saying to you? So because don't forget Katie Johnson. Katie Johnson was the all it takes is one. All it takes is one of those 1,000 that were enabled to. So, but again, I agree with you from a standpoint that I don't think it's only about Donald Trump, the
Right.
Congress. That's where I
And
think.
that's what I
That's
keep
what
saying.
exactly right.
Release the files, and thank God for somebody like Thomas Massey.
Yeah.
Thank God for somebody like Thomas Massey who has a spine, who is willing to stand up to do the right thing. You can never be wrong when you're trying to do the right thing. And the releasing of the names is to give accountability, to give justice, to give a voice to these women who were sex trafficked and used by the people like a Paulson, by these billionaire financiers, all right, who have a proclivity for children.
Oh, actually,
Okay.
by the way, hold on. I just got a text. Oh, this is great. I just got a text from Congressman Ro Khanna. Next week, we're going to do a special. He's coming on our Substack Live. We got to figure out how we could do more people.
I know the answer. We're going to do it through YouTube.
Through
And through
StreamYard.
YouTube, we're able to do it.
StreamYard, there's a way to do it. So next week, he just confirmed that they're going to come on, and we're going to get Massey on also, and we're going to blow this thing up and talk about more about what's going on internally about exactly what we're talking about right now, the votes.
And so, folks, if you want to be a part of that conversation,
make sure you subscribe
again,
right now.
make sure you subscribe to Malcolm. Make sure you subscribe to Lev. Make sure you subscribe to my Substack. And not only to subscribe, please, we spend a lot of time putting forth posts and articles. We put forth notes. Why? To keep you in the loop, to make sure that you are properly informed, or as Malcolm would say, that you completely disassociate from the misinformation, the disinformation, and the malinformation that is being dropped on our heads 24/7.
Well, 100%. I mean, and listen, and we didn't even get into, before we have so much that's still to talk about, but I really want to touch on a little bit right now about what's going on in Congress. Because today I woke up literally, I was getting ready to write my typical update on what's going on with Ukraine, my Ukraine Voice from Ukraine letter, speaking to Alex on the phone. I put the TV on. And then, when I put on, all of a sudden I started seeing breaking news. We got RFK coming in front of the Senate, and I put it on, start watching it, and it hit me. And, I stopped writing and I literally started, and I said with all the shit that's going on, I can't believe that we have this maniac in charge of our health system. And then I started thinking, and I just realized just yesterday, we had another maniac here in the state of Florida come out and say that they're canceling. Just think about it, folks. My wife says we gotta move. This is the shit that people are gonna start. That they're getting rid of mandates of all vaccines in the state of Florida. All vaccines.
That's Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, all the and Florida is just the beginning. I mean, this is going to be other states, and this is just the same way they did Roe versus Wade and everything else. It's about turning it back to you got to now live in the north or the south, or where the rules become different. We're not a united country anymore. It's not about there. Yes, we choose states by maybe which state has but this different weather, which state maybe has slightly better taxes, maybe which state has a different schooling. But now we have to choose state by state, to fear of maybe being arrested, fear of being able to have proper medical care, fear of your children getting sick. I mean, this is insane. And when I
Can
was
I go one
watching,
step further with you?
yeah, go
One
ahead,
step further?
absolutely.
Okay. Something that most people are not aware of. I try again, along with Malcolm and Lev, to provide you with facts. No innuendo, facts. The Dobbs decision, as Lev was pointing out, didn't just overturn Roe versus Wade. It overturned a series of decisions that are extremely important. For example, the decision of Dobbs also overturned something called Bivens. All right. Bivens is how you would bring an action against government for violating your constitutional rights. You had an action, which is what would prevent government from doing that or compensating you for doing that. That's gone. I'll tell you what else is gone. What's now called the Obergefell case. Look it up. Obergefell, Obergefell, same-sex marriage. There's going to be a return to the state whether or not same-sex marriage will be legal in a certain state. And mark my words, red states, you will not be welcome. Same-sex marriage will not be welcome in red states. That's just wackadoodle. It didn't just stop there. There's also another case called Blassingame. And Blassingame affects interracial marriage. So if you are somebody who is married to somebody outside of your race, black, white, whatever, brown, white, makes no difference, brown, black, you can't live in that state. It's no longer federally protected. It is going to revert to the state to make a decision whether or not they want interracial marriage. Now, somebody please tell me how this is the United States of America. After I just explained to you 4 cases, 4 that are taking away rights that Americans have now had and enjoyed for decades.
Well, it's simple. They've decided that everything since the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is illegal and unconstitutional. They're getting rid of every major civil rights advancement since Lyndon Johnson put them in place. It's the victory of the Confederacy. It is a white supremacist government that is going back to now reward almost 60 years of precedence. I had Dahlia Lithwick on my Substack about a month ago, and she said very simply, this Supreme Court is 100% in the pocket of Trump, and they will pass whatever he asks. They will overturn the constitutional mandate on tariffs because Trump is asking for that.
Yeah.
And she said, the minute that there is a President AOC or a President Gavin Newsom, they will flip all of their previous decisions back and go against everything. They are a political machine now. They are no longer arbiters of law.
Oh, absolutely. And while we're talking about health, it's extremely important because, and going back, today I had on my Substack a special guest, Congressman Raul Ruiz from District 25 in California. And he's not only a congressman, but he's also a doctor. And he's also was on the subcommittee for the COVID. And he's somebody, he's please, first of all, everybody go follow him because he's a fighter. He's on our side and somebody that is out there trying to stop lunatics like RFK. And he's one of the people that just signed. There were 6 doctors on the congressman that actually signed to get rid of and impeach RFK, excuse me for my yeah. So definitely. So one of the things we were talking about when he was on is how we're going back so far, just like you said, Malcolm, just like you said, Michael, because think about all the progress in all these years that we've made through science to be able to now get, not worry about measles, not worry about all of these diseases, to be able for our kids to be able to go to school freely. Our life expectancy has risen to such a degree from 100 years ago. And now they're taking us all the way back. They're doing away with all of this, trying to say that, used religion again. Think about it. They're saying it's your religious right to be able to what you put into your body. Now, religion has nothing to do, and it's the old way back of religion and science. I mean, you don't have to make a choice. They both could be good. You still could believe in religion and still believe in science. And that's what they're trying to make you make your choice. And it's sick to see what's happening.
This is disgraceful. RFK, I was listening to him today. He sounded like Darth fucking Vader. He's breathing so hard. I'm wondering whether he has COVID. All right. I mean, that guy he is not a figure of health. He is artificial. He takes steroids.
No. He has an issue with his vocal cords and so on. It has nothing to do. He's actually in incredibly good shape. I wouldn't be shocked if we did a blood test on him that he's got incredibly high levels of HGH.
You will.
Into him. Yeah, there's almost like no doubt in my mind.
You replace heroin with it.
Well, I'm sure. But look, there's so many issues. There's so many issues on the table. And, one of the things, again, to those of you that are with us, and some of you are saying there's so many other people that are doing lives all at the same time. I get that. And I understand, people bounce around. People want to hear. There is no 3 people on Substack together that have more personal knowledge about this administration, the president, the government, than the 3 people that are with you right this second. So you could either have somebody read you the news or tell you things that you hear from us, whether it's on our Substack and they just want to opine on it, but their opinions are predicated off of what? Nothing. No firsthand, no personal experience. So that's the answer to those of you that is saying, well, there's other people that are on. Okay. And that's why we ask you to stay with us, be a part of our family, a part of this community, and understand that you are getting information firsthand from 3 people with firsthand knowledge, plain and simple.
100%. And with everything going on, you want to be informed because most of the people out there, and I talk about, most of them are listening right now, watching what we're talking about, and then going commenting and using the knowledge that they're listening. Same thing the media is doing and the pundits, which is great. And we want the information to pass. But what Michael is telling you and what Malcolm is telling you, what I'm telling you is for us to really win, for us to be able to save our democracy, for us to be able to save our free speech, for us to be able to continue as a country that we once were, we need to know the proper information. And the only 3 people that could give it to you is right here. Not the only, there are others, but primarily the 3 that know Donald Trump as good as we are. I don't think combination-wise, Michael, I don't think if you put it combination-wise, you could find 3 people that could give you the information from inside out the way we can. So that's why we keep preaching and we keep asking, we keep pleading, we keep saying that hit those follow buttons, hit those hearts, hit those messages, subscribe, passing them far and wide. Subscribe, become paid subscribers because we're in for it. We're preparing for a major, there's going to be a time where we're going to hit the wall, folks, where it's going to come to decision time. And I don't know what that is going to be or when that's going to be, but when that time comes, we need to be prepared. And that's why Michael keeps saying it. I keep saying it. Malcolm keeps saying it. We need to build our community, because the one thing they have is they have numbers. They have money. They have the corporate sponsors. They have everything for going for them. But what they don't have is they don't have the truth, and they don't have us, people that have the voices like you and us that could get them out. So that's why it's extremely important for each and every one of you. Hit those buttons, subscribe to each and every one of us. If you can, become paid subscribers, because remember, and I know a lot of you say, I can't subscribe to everybody, but Michael made a very good point. You could subscribe and listen to the pundits of what they're going to be saying after they listen to us, or you could subscribe and listen to directly from the sources that are going to tell it to you. And that's not a joke. That's reality, and that's fact. And that's why we're telling you, because believe me when I tell you, we all have families, and I'm gonna, I never sugarcoat it. I'm gonna tell you the way it is. We're not asking you or begging you for any money. This is part of a group effort. Everybody has a job to do. Some of you don't have the money. Go out there and subscribe, pass the message out. Those of you that could go out there, protest, go out there, make your signs, make your phone calls. Everybody could do something. And those of you that can, become paid subscribers, because that's what allows us to spend all day with you, to write the letters, to go do the research, to make sure that we're doing this full time to save our democracy. And thank you to each and every one of you that do it, that subscribe, that are paid subscribers. God bless you guys.
Hey, well, on my way out, let me just say to this. Just want to let you guys know we're at war. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but we went to war with Venezuela 2 days ago, where we extra legally killed 11 people. And it created a bunch of confusion because first, Marco Rubio said that boat was going to Trinidad and Tobago, which brings the question of who authorized them to just kill people on the high seas willy-nilly, because we take down drug interdiction all the time. And then Trump said, no, it's going to the United States. The boat was like a fucking Boston whaler. Okay. To go from Venezuela to the United States would take it a month. And it had no fuel. And then Rubio flipped and said, okay, no, it's going to the USA. I mean, look, you have an administration of pathological liars. But if they're now declaring war, they're doing a Tom Clancy war. This is literally the movie A Clear and Present Danger, only with much bigger, more dangerous weapons. So this is why you need to stay tuned. I would never have known about the Laura Loomer fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene war, which I shit you not. I'm down for that. I want to see that fight happen. And I know it's going to be glorious.
My source said that they're actually contemplating on putting the two of them in a UFC cage the same night. That they're going to do it in the backyard over there at the White House.
Marjorie's gonna kill Laurel. Marjorie's a beast, though. Do you see her workout videos? She's a beast.
Don't do me a favor.
Well, she's a Neanderthal.
Don't underestimate the insanity of Laura Loomer.
That's what I was gonna say. You can, when you get, two what we call BBCs, right? Bitch be crazies, in the exact same spot. The whole energy is just off the scale. And when you have them hit together, it's like a nuclear explosion. But the problem is it's MAGA, it's crazy MAGA versus crazy MAGA. Which one will win?
Exactly.
And that's a great point.
What were you going to say, Lev?
No, I was going to say that's a great point to end it off. That just think about it. MAGA is versus MAGA. What the Epstein files have done, what Trump is what's turning into right now. There's an incredible opportunity. There's an incredible vacuum. We need somebody in the Democratic Party to step up. And believe me when I tell you, with the support that we could give him, the information we could give him, the help we could give him, we definitely could get our democracy back. But it's up to each and every one of you along with us.
Let them fight.
Exactly. And we want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. Like the boys just said, this is the place to come for facts. You want innuendo? Go watch one of the other shows. All right. You want to go listen to, for example, an interview with a member of Congress? Sure, go there. That's the same member of Congress that's either unable to get the releases filed or are unwilling to get the releases filed. One or the other. We're not playing this game. We're going to sources. We're doing what we need to do to provide you with information. By the way, you may have just heard, for example, Lev made mention that it came out that one of the names on the list is John Paulson. Well, now you know a name. I didn't know that name until Lev just said it because he received the information. And this is where you're going to get it. And so on behalf of Lev, behalf of Malcolm, please, again, that top left corner, if you subscribe to me, please subscribe to both Malcolm and Lev. And the same, if you're a Lev or a Malcolm subscriber, please subscribe to all three of us. Thank you for joining us every Thursday, 3:00, Unleashed. Little fun, a lot of information.
Have a great day, guys.
All right, guys.
I'll speak to you later, boys. Thank you all.